This is In the Know for Wednesday, October 25, the 298th day of 2023. There are 67 days left in the year. Good morning, MB, guiding you through In the Know at K105. On Litchfield's Country Station, 1039 The Moose, live online at K105.com, via the Apple and Android smartphone app, using the SoundCloud, iTunes, or Spotify podcast, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, and the hashtag is In the Know. Coming up today, we'll update you on the latest news headlines from around the community, the county, the Commonwealth, and the country. Plus, we will talk a little bit about Halloween. It's Red Ribbon Week. We'll tell you how we're celebrating that, and a whole lot more is coming up today. Here on In the Know. Settling into my left, rolling Mach 9 with her hair on fire, is my beautiful wife, the beautiful girl. It's Beach. Good morning, sweetheart.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm good.
How are things at Vandelay Industries? Importing
really,
and exporting?
Yes, it's going well. It's going well.
You got to hear my discussion about Vandelay Industries yesterday?
I did, and I loved it.
Yeah,
yes.
Did you think had you realized you were an importer and an exporter?
Well, I hadn't really thought about it in that way, but I really like the way it sounds.
Dealing in high-dollar merchandise, high-end merchandise, some as much as $6.
Yes, that's right.
Very good. Mm-hmm. I also like your MTV shirt today.
Thank you.
Got some tie-dye in there.
This is also from the importing.
From the importing business. Okay, so that one's not been exported yet.
This is a vintage. Yes, this is a vintage MTV shirt.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
I want my MTV. There you go. Over there in chair number 3, we say good morning and welcome back. Grayson County Extension Service Family and Consumer Sciences Agent, very special agent, Natalie Tall. Morning.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Good. I'm good.
Last time I saw you, you were directing people to the wine line.
I was the wine line.
And I said, we was at the chamber dinner, and I said, is it the wine line or the wine line? And you said, I said what I said.
Yep. Sure
and
did.
I thought, yep, she said it. Then not long after that, I understand. I'm a little surprised you're not still carrying your award around. You got an award?
Well, I did. It's it's in my office now.
It is
tucked in a.
Well, we suspected you were walking around saying, "Have you seen my award?"
Yeah. Well, I thought about like making it into like a necklace, kind of like Flava Flav and his clock.
Mm-hmm, sure.
Right? Was that was Flava Flav, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't. So.
Look, I got one too.
Look at you! Congrats,
we
man.
were award twinks.
We are.
So look at it.
Heavy.
We've had a big month, haven't we?
We have.
So very good. I did mention when we were talking about your award. I mentioned I gave the origins of why we call you very special agent Natalie Tall. It's a tribute to NCIS. Mm-hmm. But for a long time, you were the leader in the clubhouse with most guest co-host appearances on the show. And I'm not so sure that you haven't been eclipsed, and now I'm guessing that's one of the reasons you're here is because you're clawing back in. You don't want to be dethroned.
No, absolutely not.
I was so excited to see you this morning.
Oh, thanks.
I mean, I knew
I'm glad
you were
to be
coming,
here.
but like when I saw your smiling face, I was like,
"Oh, thank
Yay.
you."
Well, and to see your Steve Miller Band shirt.
Yes, listen,
Right?
that set me right on over the edge.
Love it.
It is fantastic.
Looking good.
Thanks.
We're going to have another cloudy but warm day. We're going to watch some weekend rain chances. We'll see cloudy, breezy, and warm today and again for tomorrow. Some scattered showers on Friday, some rain chances increasing over the weekend. Mostly cloudy, 79 today. Tonight, a low of 60 with mostly cloudy skies. And then cloudy tomorrow with a high of 79. Not much of a weekend change yet, but it does look like at least the rain chance has been removed from the Halloween forecast. The bad news is the temperature will only be 48 as your high on Tuesday for Halloween, and the overnight low will be 30. So sounds like somebody. Guess who's going to be rearranging outdoor plants in the next few days? This guy.
That guy right there. Yes.
This guy.
It's wearing them all to death. Yes.
Gonna have to get it. We've ridden it as long as we can ride it. So we're gonna have to do something different. Not a lot of news out of Israel in the last 24 hours. They do vow again to destroy Hamas in the last 24 hours, kind of rejecting calls for a ceasefire in Gaza. Except the longer they wait, it does appear like at least a surrogate ceasefire while they humanitarian aid and they can evacuate more civilians. So that's kind of the biggest news from that region over the last day. We do now know the identity of a Clarkson woman who was killed in a Peonia Road crash on Monday evening. About 6 o'clock, they worked a traffic fatality in the 8,000 block of Peonia Road to the report of a two-vehicle accident. We told you about this yesterday. It was under the investigation by the Kentucky State Police, and they were pending notification of next of kin. The preliminary investigation shows a 2019 Ford F-450 commercial vehicle towing a trailer with an over-dimensional portable shed. It was being driven by a 19-year-old Caleb Stutzman of Clarkson. An 06 Crown Victoria being driven by 56-year-old Lisa Meredith of Clarkson was traveling east when the vehicle struck the shed on the driver's side, resulting in her vehicle exiting the roadway, traveled down a steep, heavily wooded embankment, and unfortunately, she lost her life in that accident. But we now do have the identity for you. For the last time, Beshear and Cameron squared off in their gubernatorial debate. As we said yesterday, too many. They said at the beginning of the campaign they were going to do 7. And 7 is too many for these two to get together, because there's really nothing new for them to drill down on. But last night's debate really spent more time over the income tax issue, income tax versus consumption tax. That became part of the discussion where they spent quite a bit of time. It's kind of weird how the governor is claiming a whole lot of credit for that, and he was clearly in charge when it happened. But the legislature, the one who passed the legislation that does the de-escalation, or at least the tear down of income tax while we raise taxes on services. But as you've heard me say multiple times, we're in this weird situation where the tax rate, income tax rate, didn't go down low enough. The metrics on the revenue side for the other taxes weren't high enough to trigger the next step down in the income tax, and now the state's getting both. So we're paying taxes on services that we weren't before, and we're still paying a higher rate of income tax. So we're sort of twixt in between. They got into this discussion on, will they speed it up? Will they figure out a way to speed up the decrease in the income tax? But I remind both of them, that really has nothing to do with them. It has to do with the legislature, because they're the ones who will see that forward, and they can veto it, they can sign it, but then the legislature has the ultimate say. Scary situation yesterday at Franklin Simpson High School and Franklin Simpson Middle School. They were placed on lockdown after a man with a gun was observed on campus. The Franklin Police Department, Simpson County Sheriff, and KSP responded after a Hispanic male was seen with a gun outside the school. Outside the high school. The juvenile suspect was located near the school in possession of a weapon. He was detained without incident and charged with possession of a weapon on school property, etc., etc. I saw another headline today about a Kentucky soldier killed in World War II who will be buried in his home county next month. A Russell County soldier killed in action during World War II and whose remains were not identified until earlier this year will be returning to his home county for burial next month. The DPAA announced Monday that U.S. Army Private First Class Henry C. Wade, 24 years of age, of Decatur, Kentucky, was killed during World War II, was accounted for on May 11th of this year. He was killed during World War II, and his remains were returned this past May, and he will be buried in Russell Springs on November 29th. They're in Russell Springs, and Governor Beshear has ordered flags lowered to half-staff in honor of Wade on that day. You know, we're suddenly seeing not necessarily a flurry of these, but we're seeing more of these over the last few years, and I think we should rejoice each time we see it, because it's been such a long time in coming that they can reach their final resting place here back where they were raised, or where their families choose for them to be. So I'm excited. I also must say, I happened through Brownsville a few weeks ago on the day that they were burying one of their natives who lost their lives in World War II, had been identified recently, and was being buried back home. And we had covered that story a few weeks ago, that it was going to happen. And then it had kind of slipped my mind on the actual date, but I was in Brownsville and I happened to stop and get gasoline, and I was looking around and there were American flags everywhere. Like all the businesses had put up American flags, and it was weird because it's October, and I think what's going on? Like, what did I miss? And then later on in the day, I learned, like, oh yeah, this is the day that they're having the processional for the man who lost his life in World War II and is being buried at home. So anyway, good job, Edmonson County. You really showed out that day and made an impressive welcome home for him. So well done. Dozens of states, including California and New York, are suing Meta Platforms, Inc. for harming young people and contributing to the young mental health crisis by knowingly and deliberately designing features on Instagram and Facebook that addict children to its platforms. A lawsuit filed by 33 states in federal court in California, including Kentucky, claims that Meta routinely collects data on children under 13 without their parents' consent in violation of federal law. In addition, 9 attorneys general are filing lawsuits in their respective states, bringing the total number of states taking action to 41 and Washington, D.C. So we're in a group of several of those. Florida is in there. About any of the red states that you might imagine are in there, but other states like Massachusetts and California are in there as well. I've said many times on the show that we spent from 2009 to 2019, we spent a decade just acting extremely irresponsibly in the technology space, and we were like addicts on dopamine, saying, give me all of the dopamine you can give me. I want this app, I want that app, I gotta scroll, I gotta doom scroll, I gotta get affirmation, who's liking my post,
Yes.
Guess who followed us down that rabbit hole? Our kids. And it's one thing, adults are bad enough, but we might have the ability to curb that, change that, do something different. But if our kids are just emulating our behavior, it's dangerous. The statistics that show like body shame for young girls, or that increase, that have like issues with food, or that think about suicide, or the details on that are staggering. And there need to be some guardrails set up on what data can be collected, and I don't know how we fix this, but I saw one official yesterday say that if Meta were a parent, they would turn them over to Child Protective Services.
Oh.
Yeah. And I thought, kind of a bold statement.
Yeah. When you think about it like that.
So I don't know what the path forward is, but I have noticed since sports gambling has been legalized in Kentucky, every commercial you hear has a tagline, or if it's a print ad, it's it's got a subscript, and it says, "Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLING" or whatever. So they clearly identified that there are some dopamine-related issues with gambling that they're saying, all right, if we're going to sell you this product, we're also going to give you a platform for help. On every social media post, do we need to have one of those messages that says depression or
depression, anxiety,
FOMO, or call 1-800-FOMO or whatever? So it's dangerous, and I don't know how we fix it. But do you think Meta and Twitter or the platform formerly known as Twitter, do you think they're financially responsible? I don't know.
I don't know. No.
We finally went and got opioid. We went and got Big Pharma for what happened for opioids. Now, maybe we are. You can find where there are death-related issues from social media, clearly. Maybe not at the level that we had opioid-related deaths, but there is context between those two things. So anyway, it's going to be an interesting suit to follow. And then it'll be interesting to see if there is eventually a settlement, what the states choose to do with the money. Because now we're finding out of all these big pharma dollars that are being repaid to the states, what they're doing and to try and fix some of the problems that were created. 5 cases of highly contagious fungus are reported at UK Healthcare. I can only deduce, ladies, there's a fungus among us.
Oh, I was so trying to I wanted you to catch your breath so I could slide that in there, and you did.
Oh man!
Listen,
I didn't leave the door ajar.
Lately, there have been a couple things. He has just slipped right in. Like, I've been holding off on some phrases for Alea, you know? And, I mean, I'm like, oh. Anyway, sorry. Fungus among us.
Fungus among
All right.
us.
Officials at UK Healthcare reported yesterday that they currently have 5 cases of patients with the fungus Candida auris, which is isolated to one floor at UK Chandler Hospital in Lexington. According to the CDC, Candida auris, or C. auris, is a type of yeast fungus that can cause severe illness and spreads easily among patients in healthcare facilities. It is often resistant to antifungal treatments, which means that the medications that are designed to kill the fungus and stop infections do not work. So, I never heard of that before. I hope it's an isolated issue. Liberty defeated Western Kentucky University last night, 42-29, behind Caden Salter's 4 touchdowns. It was an exciting game for a while, but Liberty was just too much for WKU. The helmets were really cool, and there were 7 different patterns of the helmets featuring Big Red in different poses. So that was kind of cool. I know some people, and I have submitted a request for one of those helmets.
Yes.
I would like to have as a collector's
I
item.
know, right?
So I put the baby sister in charge of trying to procure one of those. Ben, her significant other, is he's the equipment manager for WKU football. So that was his project. So it was fun to see that getting some national exposure. ESPN was showing them a bunch of love about their helmets and Big Red and what a great mascot he is. So anyway, it was a good night. Lots of good national exposure for WKU. That's why they played it on Tuesday. But unfortunately, they were not able to be victorious on the hill. But I think a lot of people had a lot of fun at the concert. So I don't know if Dennis Cook went to the concert or not, but I know he was at the game. The Grayson County High School Lady Cougar volleyball team fell last night in third region action. They fell 3-1. They finished their season 19-14. So congratulations on a great season for the Lady Cougar volleyball program. And then the Diamondbacks stunned the Phillies last night with a 4-2 win in Game 7. So the Diamondbacks are going to the World Series to play the Rangers. I had not watched any baseball since about August 15th, once I knew the Yankees were tanking, until last night because, my friend Chris Winkle talked me into watching it for just a few minutes. Maybe sometime I'll tell you the reason why. It's his business, not mine. And but I was watching the Diamondbacks, and I was sitting there thinking, they have not been to the World Series in a long time. It's been 22 years. And I decided, you know how people say they tell you an event to describe how old they are? Mm-hmm. I am the Diamondbacks' colors are purple years old. Last night I thought the Diamondbacks aren't purple anymore. No. So I've not really paid much attention. And I got this maroon kind of Aztec kind of color palette now that where it used to have like purple. So there you go. Diamondbacks and Rangers. I don't know who I'm for. I don't really like snakes, so I guess I'm for the Rangers. We got to get to a break. We'll come back. Natalie Tall is our guest co-host today. Got plenty of good stuff, including Red Ribbon Week talk coming up here on In the Know.
What do you call someone who puts your family's interests ahead of their own? Someone who takes time to listen without rushing you or passing judgment. Someone you can count on to help guide you through one of life's most difficult times. At Watkins Funeral Home, we call someone like that a friend of the family. For families making funeral arrangements in Litchfield, there's only one thing you need to know. You've got a friend at Watkins Funeral Home. For more information, visit us online at rogers-watkins.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Ashley Gabbard, internal medicine physician with Owensboro Health. I'd like to talk with women 40 and over about having annual mammograms, even if there is no history of breast cancer in your family. Early detection provides women a strong advantage in fighting breast cancer. Ask your primary care provider for a referral and schedule your screening online at owensborohealth.org/mammogram.
Today, successful small businesses are lean, portable, and focused. If you're running your own business, you need to stay in tune to your customers, vendors, and employees. That doesn't leave much time for processing payroll and reporting, much less the overall performance of your business. The firm of Buckles, Travis, and Hart has a full offering of services for small businesses. Payroll processing, tax liability, unemployment, and financial reporting, just to name a few. Think of them like a built-in business manager, but they don't get sick and they don't ask for time off. Call or contact today to help get your business focused across the board. Buckles, Travis, and Hart, 270-259-5604, GraysonCPAs.com.
Early voting in the November general election will be available to anyone November 2nd, 3rd, and 4th from 8 to 4 at the Center on Main in Litchfield. Then on Election Day, November 7th, you may vote at any of the following voting centers: the Center on Main on South Main Street, the Church of Joy on Schoolhouse Road, the Old Caneyville School on East Maple Street, the Falls of Rough Fire Department on Falls of Rough Road, the Rock Creek Voting House on Grayson Springs Road, the Clarkson Community Center on Millerstown Street, and the Big Clifty Community Center on Cemetery Road. No matter where you live in Grayson County, you may vote at any of these voting centers between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. on November 7th. Early voting is only offered November 2nd, 3rd, and 4th from 8 to 4 at the Center on Main.
Thinking about furthering your education? At Elizabethtown Community and Technical College, you'll get a high-quality education close to home at a cost that won't break the bank. Enjoy small class sizes with professors who take a personal interest in your success. Scholarships are still available, making our low tuition even more affordable.
ECTC's Litchfield Classes is now enrolling for classes that start October 16th.
Visit elizabethtown.kctcs.edu to get started. ECTC, College for the Real.
Many states have teamed up to sue Instagram and Facebook parent company Meta. They claim the tech giant is harming youth mental health with addictive features like feeds that scroll endlessly and too many notifications. The federal lawsuit filed in California was signed by more than 30 attorneys general. The states say that Meta is contributing to a national mental health crisis. Elon Musk thinks that a World War III is possible. The billionaire said in a talk on his social media platform X that the war between Israel and Hamas, along with Russia's continued war in Ukraine, raises the potential of a third world war. Musk suggested restoring normal relations with Russia. He previously brought up a proposal to end the war, which would have allowed Russia to take over large parts of Ukraine. And the California DMV has suspended the Cruise driverless taxi service in San Francisco. In a statement, state officials said when there is an unreasonable risk to public safety, the DMV can immediately suspend or revoke permits. However, Cruise can still test autonomous vehicles on San Francisco streets. Check report, Mark Mayfield.
Today is Punk for a Day. So wear your faux hawk and your imitation leather and strut your stuff. It's also Greasy Foods Day. Pizza, nachos, burgers, French fries, whatever you want. And it's World, I say pasta. I heard people say pasta. Pasta. It's not pasta, it's pasta. But however you say it, you can eat some, or as Alea calls them, noodles.
Noodles. It doesn't matter.
If I ask her, I said, do you want some pasta? No, but I do want some noodles.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Well,
They're all noodles.
Yes, ma'am.
It doesn't matter.
you have whatever you want. It is also Red Ribbon Week day number 3, and it's Peace Out to Drugs. It's Tie-Dye Day.
Yeah.
So yesterday was Ready to Say No to Drugs. Today's Peace Out to Drugs. So people are wearing tie-dye, including the MTV shirt over here. Mm-hmm. And so that's how they're celebrating. Deaths involving alcohol are increasing. I was seeing some statistics here. This is one of the reasons we're talking about Red Ribbon Week. And we are also seeing some new overdose data. And also one of the focuses this week and today, be aware, don't share, make sure and lock your meds up. 1 in 4 teens abuses prescription drugs. 3.1 million 12 to 25-year-olds used over-the-counter cough and cold medications at least once for the purposes of getting high. So anyway, now's a good week to kind of research, look out, and learn more about the dangers. And you can use the hashtag GC Red Ribbon Week to celebrate. Did you see Alea's?
I did.
She's tie-dyed
I did.
today,
So
even all the way,
cute.
even all the way down to her Crocs.
Yes, there she is.
Oh,
yeah,
look
there she
at
is.
her.
Right?
Precious.
She's
something.
She's rocking it and ready
Tomorrow is neon and sunglasses day.
to. Neon and sunglasses day is
Yes.
tomorrow.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Too bright for drugs, right? I think that's the theme.
so.
That's right. Too bright for drugs. And then, has Alea landed on sports team for Friday yet? Do you know?
She has options. I'm just going to throw them out there. I have
whatever
a
she
feeling
wants to
it's
do.
going to be the GCHS cheer shirt
Yeah. I have a feeling you're.
with her whistle.
I have a feeling you're right. I ran across a LinkedIn survey. Natalie, you said during the break earlier, you said something about young Natalie would have, so I'm like,
Come so prepared.
So you're talking about young Natalie versus old Natalie. Like, what's that say about me? Like, I even said we talked about my award earlier that I got. That's the award they give to old people who are washed up and have nothing else to offer. Whereas, like, your award is for up and coming, like spark plug, like in the prime of their life type award. But to hear you talk about young Natalie, I was like, oh, let's cut out that young Natalie talk because you are young. But apparently, there is a trend on TikTok where Gen Z is making fun of Gen X sayings.
Leave Gen X alone, people.
And when I ran through
Leave
the
them alone.
list, I thought, I think I use every one of these.
They don't mess around.
But they say they're cringeworthy. I say you wouldn't know how to navigate the world without them.
I agree.
Blue sky thinking. I mean, we used to call it thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
So doesn't blue sky thinking sound more ambitious than thinking outside the
So
box?
wait, Gen X says that or Gen Z says
Gen
that?
X says it, or the older people in the profession say blue sky thinking, and Gen Z thinks
okay.
that's a cringeworthy phrase.
Oh, well.
Which I would ask, okay, say it better. Use a phrase of similar syllabic
Right.
value to tell me the equivalent of blue sky thinking, and then maybe I'll be on board. But until you've got a solution to the problem or a better way of doing it, don't just be knocking it. Gen Z. I don't use this one, but I understand that people do. Boiling the ocean. They use it to try and describe a problem that's nearly impossible to solve. We got to boil the ocean because you probably wouldn't be able to do
My
it.
millennial is showing because I've not heard these phrases.
You didn't know blue sky thinking either?
No, I mean, like maybe vaguely,
maybe.
but
Yeah,
not,
I'm
like
not-
I've not heard it used like regularly.
I don't know this one. A quick flag says when a manager says this, they either want to raise something important or something that's potentially an issue.
Never heard that one either.
A quick flag. I was like, a quick
like
flag.
Gen Z, where are you going to find these? Where are you getting these?
Now I think
Are you sure this isn't like the golden age, like
Yeah,
the
something's-
golden generation?
maybe. It's just called workplace jargon. It's like a different language.
Oh
to
no, I'm
Gen
talking
Z.
about you. I meant Gen Z. Like is Gen Z
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
tagging this on Gen Xers?
So
or something?
this is their attempt to mock common corporate phrases,
Yeah.
is what they are
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
Which, by the way, the corporate world, Gen X still pretty much very, very present in the corporate world. We haven't been turned out to pasture just yet. Ducks in a row.
Oh,
Everybody gets their ducks in a row.
always. Listen, millennials get their ducks in a row. Well, I try to get my ducks in a row. They're
Show
usually
me a
everywhere.
way to get your ducks in a row without saying ducks in a row. Like, I think it's one of the most perfect phrases.
Herding cats.
We got it. That's very
That's-
next on the list.
Is it?
In the corporate world,
love that.
cat herders are those who can organize different people to come together and complete a difficult task despite possible conflicting views. Yep, ducks in a row, herding cats, low-hanging fruit.
Now those. Okay, so now we're getting into some
Okay.
of the ones that I have
Yeah.
heard and
Yeah,
and
that
used.
one kind of.
Low-hanging fruit. Do the easiest first.
You use that quite a bit.
But is there a better way to say do the easy stuff first?
That's that's easier.
Or do you want me to just say, do the easy stuff
Yeah.
first? All right. Singing from the same hymnal.
You've used
Is
that.
everybody on the same page?
I love Generation
Are
Talk.
we
I
all
love
sharing the same?
and I love Generation Smack Talk. I just love
Are
it.
you
like,
well-versed?
Like well, no, not really, but like this. Like this is Gen Z smack talking Gen X,
That's
which is,
true.
I'm telling you, it's not one you want to mess with.
And you're in the
man.
middle. But wait till the
I am.
millennials moved into the Gen X, and then Gen Zs will be in the middle, and then whatever comes behind Gen Zs will be trying to knock
Listen,
you
they're
off.
already all over millennials
Oh, okay.
too.
I got it. And then, yeah, it does feel weird that the millennials
Mm-hmm.
are also getting beaten up on by the next generation. And then I understand why this one doesn't work any longer. But to me, I know exactly what it means. Move the needle. That didn't really move the
yeah.
needle. Now you can modernize it and say move the meter, like move the, because it in the old days where you have that VU meter, that used to be a needle, and it would show you activity, and that's how you understood
Yeah.
your levels. Well, there are no needles involved anymore. However, I do think it still
Yeah. that's just-
explains.
yeah.
So do you use any of those or just familiar with any of them?
I use ducks in a row, herding cats. I've heard of like moving the needle, boiling the ocean is not
Yeah,
one that I've heard of, or blue sky thinking like. But yeah, some of those I use. Some of them I have heard before and
Okay.
understand them. Like I know what they mean.
So how would you describe creative brainstorming without saying creative brainstorming?
Creative brainstorming. No, it would just be brainstorm. I got to brainstorm this. I mean, I just
spitball. We're going to spitball ideas. We're going to throw stuff against the wall and see what sticks.
yeah.
We're going to.
I mean, all of those, but it's a brainstorm.
Have you ever heard the phrase pushing spaghetti uphill?
No. But the image that just came into my mind is quite entertaining.
And similar to herding cats, it could be equally successful. So I don't. So there's the list of those that maybe you learned
like
something
it.
today. Maybe you
Gen Z, don't mess with Gen X. Just leave them alone.
leave us old people alone.
Leave them alone.
Please do. And then you teens. Interesting. We were talking about technology earlier. Tens of millions of teens actively want their parents to track their locations using tech like Apple's Find My and third-party apps like Life 360. More broadly, the survey reports on Gen Z, representing those 11 to 26, being more anxious than previous generations and having a mindset to location tracking. You've heard me say many times about the idea of my parents standing in the front yard watching me drive away going, I guess he'll be back. You know,
mine too.
We're told he's going here and that he might be back around this time, but
There's a good chance neither
knows?
will happen.
we don't really know. But now to the ability, the electronic leash that we can have on our children. I know a lot of families do. We do it. You know, instead of bothering her to ask her what she's doing, I just easily say, "Oh, okay, yeah, she's at Vandelay Industries, or you know, wherever she is. She's at home. I know she's already home, etc." But for young people, they are increasingly, rather than looking at it as prying, they are looking at it as protection.
Protection and safety.
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
I do have just a funny, quick story about that. A friend of a friend had her son was on Life 360, and I think you can. Can't you like track the speed? Like if they're driving, you can see how
told
fast
that,
they're
yes.
going. And she ripped her son that he was driving like 80 miles an hour, and how dare he? And he looked at the timestamp, and he was in the car with her, and she was driving.
Funny. He was the passenger.
Yeah, he was like. Because
That
he was
is
adamant
great.
about like, no, I did not, Mom, I was not. And she was like, it's right here, I see it. And he said, Mom, look at I was with you and you were driving.
That is great.
To use an old timey phrase, that was guilt by association. Yeah, he was associated with her, and she got him in trouble.
her up real quick.
And
Well,
then-
I guess so.
And then she tried. That's funny.
That is
I
funny.
thought it was
You
funny.
got to be careful about throwing those stones.
Yeah, yep.
You can't live in the old
Probably
glass
should
house.
do your homework.
There's an
Yeah.
old timey phrase: throwing stones at a glass house. Do they even make glass houses anymore?
I don't know.
I don't know. Speaking of young people, it's a skill that's disappearing in general. I think with everyone, balancing a checkbook. How many people from your age and younger can balance a checkbook? What percentage of people?
Oh, what percentage?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going to say.
I mean, you can't come up with a number because we don't know the number that
Well,
there
that's
are.
true.
You can't say
I don't know.
7.
But listen, so I do mine on. I have an app I have an app for that now.
Yes.
That automatically connects and, but I do balance and keep track of. Now, my husband, good old Dustin, still has the check register. He writes down everything. He writes down the date. He does math in his head. Like it just, he still does the whole thing.
There are so few things that we actually write checks for anymore. I'd no longer I don't balance with the register, but if it's a check of any significant size, I will jot it down on what it was. But I know that I can also see it in the app. And that's my point, is that most young people now, when they develop their financial literacy skills, they're using the app to tell them their balance. And so long as they've got money, they're know that they can scan that card and go, do I have $200 in the account? Scan it. But in the old days, we were betting on when the check was going to get back, right?
Exactly.
So I can write
when
you
it was
a
gonna hit the
$100
bank.
check, and I've got $100, but will I have that $100 when the check goes around the world and comes back?
Yeah.
And kids don't know. Kids don't know that landscape existed.
I showed you
Dustin
my old school budgeting book.
Dustin still does checks. He writes checks for the business.
Sure.
He'll use his debit card every once in a while, but even then he will still write down.
If I
even
use
debit card
more than what
purchases.
I do, which is rare, I would use the register. But I do write them on the back of the checkbook.
Yeah.
Because unless you're writing it in the actual register, there's no sense in you keeping a register and me keeping a register. But now everything is just kind of co-located into your online banking that you can see. You can see images of checks, you can mobile deposit checks, etc. But they're not teaching. We talk about teaching soft skills. Balancing a checkbook is not
it's not
something
one of
where
them.
No, it is not.
If the card scans, I got money.
Yeah.
If the card doesn't, I don't. That's just kind of how they operate these days. Got to get to a break. We'll come back. Got more on the way. There are new Barbies on the market. We'll tell you how and why coming up here on In the Know.
Kentucky is a special place. I see it everywhere I go. I'm Andy Bashir. We've been through a lot these past 4 years, but Kentuckians are the hardest working, most resilient people I know. We've faced down impossible challenges, and we've come out stronger on the other side. I will always show up for Kentucky families because we look out for each other. We're rebuilding homes and whole new neighborhoods from natural disasters because we have a responsibility to our fellow Kentuckian. We're growing our economy at a record pace, creating thousands of new, good-paying jobs. Unemployment has never been lower. And we've cut the income tax by 10% in a fiscally responsible way. There's still work to do. That's why my education plan includes well-deserved and necessary raises for our public school teachers. We've turned the corner and we're moving forward. Let's keep it going. I'm Andy Bashir and I approve this message. Paid for by Andy Bashir for governor.
Kentucky has 80,000 miles of roadway. That's a lot of pavement. It's also a lot of looking out for your neighbor. Being a safe driver means yielding to pedestrians and cyclists, especially when turning, stopping for pedestrians at crosswalks, giving bikes safe distance, and always keeping your eyes on the road. Drive safe, Kentucky. A message from the Kentucky Office of Highway Safety.
The Kentucky Department for Community-Based Services is hiring. DCBS invites you to be part of an inclusive team of caring professionals that helps all Kentucky families through a rewarding career in family support or social services. They have job openings in their county offices across the state and offer great benefits like hybrid work schedule, competitive salary, paid holidays, and many opportunities for training and promotions, plus state employee discounts. Go online to chfs.ky.gov and enter DCBS jobs in the search field. It's a new day at DCBS. Join them, an equal opportunity employer MFD.
Do you or someone you know struggle with hearing issues? Many rural Kentuckians are underserved when it comes to hearing health care. That's why the Heiser Hearing Institute developed Kentucky Hears, a program aimed at removing barriers to care and providing equal access to hearing health care. Kentucky Hears offers everything from hearing screenings to cochlear implant resources. Visit kyhears.org to learn more. Kentucky Hears, because everyone deserves to experience the sound of life.
K105 Weather is brought to you by Future Designs Building Materials on Quarry Road in Litchfield.
Twin Lakes weather. We'll keep a mix of sun and clouds across the region for today with more clouds than sun as the day goes along. Temperatures, though, still warming into the 70s for your highs as we deal with occasional wind gusts near 25 miles per hour. The wind calms down for tonight as temperatures slide down into the 50s. From the Wave News Storm Tracking Team, I'm meteorologist Tawana Andrew.
But on the midnight watch, I realized why twice you ran away. Think about how many times I have fallen.
Today's Did You Know is brought to you by Litchfield Memorial Chapel, providing Grayson County with compassionate, professional funeral, cremation, and pre-need services. Litchfield Memorial Chapel celebrating life one family at a time. Go to litchfieldmemorial.com, where did you know the little piece of paper in a Hershey's Kiss is called a Niggly Wiggly.
I love that.
Stop it.
Niggly Wiggly is the little piece of paper that I guess is just designed to pry open the foil. But have you ever played the game where you tried to pull the Niggly Wiggly out without disturbing the foil?
Yes.
It's like Candy Jenga.
Yes. Like if you only have so many in church, it makes it last longer, right? You can play that game and
Yeah, you can turn your candy into, a fun board
because you have to
game.
be really, really particular, so it doesn't make much noise anyway, right? Because you're having to be so careful.
But after you've wadded up the foil into the little bitty ball,
then you
after
have
you've
something else you can do.
eaten the Hershey's Kiss, and you can throw the little foil if you want.
Yeah.
But then, what purpose does the Niggly Wiggly serve? Like after you're finished with it,
tiny
you go.
spitball.
Ooh, yeah, it would be.
No.
I had to use 2 or 3 of them and
It would be way
wad them
too
together
small.
and turn them
For
into,
sure.
Throwing spitballs against the wall. If
It
you
would stick in somebody's hair.
if you have a kid who loves Pixar, or you are a big kid who loves Pixar, you'll be excited to learn that Disneyland out in CA is opening the Disney's Pixar Place Hotel. It will open January 30, 2024, so just in about 3 months. And it will include themed rooms. Different headboards will be featured and different decor for different rooms. So, The Incredibles or Toy Story or most any. So once the transformation is complete in 2024, guests will be welcomed into a whimsical lobby featuring a larger-than-life version of the brand's iconic Pixar lamp balancing atop its ball. When it comes through there and then drives the eye in the ground. I mean, that's just
Easton's favorite part of any
everybody-
Pixar movie.
Everybody kind of knows that. So I would imagine. I'm curious to know what they're going to do with the Galactic Star Cruiser Resort at Disney's Hollywood Studios, since that boutique idea didn't work in the Star Wars theme. But they'll have to do something with the building, so I would be interested to see if they will reimagine that into something else. The Barbie universe is expanding with the addition of Ted Lasso dolls. You can get a Ted doll, you can get a Rebecca doll, and you can get a Keeley doll. By the way, if the Ted Lasso doll did not have the Ted Lasso jumpsuit on it, you would never know that was Ted Lasso. Because that doll looks nothing like Jason Sudeikis, maybe outside of the mustache.
I'm getting Burt Reynolds vibes from here.
100%. That if you were to put a hat on him and some blue jeans, it could be a Smokey and the Bandit Barbie.
Could they not do any better than that?
Well, maybe he comes with a change of clothes and he can be Burt Reynolds or Ted. So
that
2
would
in
be a
1,
good idea.
2 in 1 Barbie.
And then we can turn Rebecca into Sally Field. I don't think they fit. I don't think they can change out easily. But the Rebecca doll it looks exactly like her. Wallingford? No, it's not her. Hannah Waddingham is who plays her. And then Juno Temple plays Keeley. And she looks like Keeley. So Ted Lasso. Are you all Ted Lasso watchers? You have not? And honey, you watched the first season?
Yeah.
And then kind of fell out after that?
I may have watched an episode or 2 of the second, but...
Okay, so Britney Spears' memoir is coming out. To my understanding, you're going to read it.
I am.
So I presume you don't want to know any of the bombshells
I mean,
beyond
go
ones that have
ahead.
already come out.
No, that's fine.
She says that she had a fling with Colin Farrell after her and Justin split up. She says she was extremely inebriated when she married Jason Alexander in Las Vegas. I don't think that's a newsflash. And she shaved her head basically to throw middle fingers to the world, she said. And she was aware of the Free Britney movement. You know, the hashtag Free Britney started when they were trying to bust her out of her conservatorship, and she was aware of the movement.
See, so for me, that doesn't really ruin it, because what I'm hoping for is the story leading up to, like, the Jason Sudeikis being so inebriated. I want to hear that play out until that point. So it doesn't ruin it for me.
Jason Alexander.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was
I was like,
Yeah,
wait,
I
wait,
went-
she
wait, I went-
Sudeikis?
Did she
I
think
went-
Jason Sudeikis?
I went, yes, sorry. I
No,
went back.
I was running through
Yeah.
my mind. Going,
Maybe Mark's
that's
going to
what-
read the book too.
maybe. By the way,
Sorry.
just as an aside, I saw Nate Bargatze's The Tennessee Kid special last night. He is hosting SNL on Saturday, and I didn't know him. And Sam said, "You'll know him. You'll recognize him when you see him." And I didn't really recognize him, but I love his delivery. You know, he doesn't ever laugh at himself. He has this very serious delivery, not quite like Stephen Wright serious, where he's monotone, but he just delivers it. He's got this rhythm and timing where you never get lost. And the jokes hit perfectly.
I have only seen him in like TikTok clips or Facebook clips or whatever. And he, what the clips that I've seen are hilarious. I was actually just telling Dustin about his bit he does on married couple fights and how married people fight.
I just walked
It's
through. I passed. A couple
Hilarious.
times, but-
He's just funny. He's
How
really funny.
When you're fighting with your spouse, you inevitably meet in the hallway every time when you're not speaking to one another.
Yeah.
And you just turn your back to one another and like slide down the hall and go to the other end.
And then he's
It's
like,
kinda
he's
funny.
like, I want to wake her up at 3 a.m. and be like, you didn't, but it's not right. Like you didn't, what you said, you didn't do it right or something like that.
He's good. And
Yeah, he's funny.
He does a revisit of a couple of his apparently famous bits in the Tennessee Kid that he did before that. One was talking about going to Starbucks and ordering iced coffee with milk. And he would, multiple times he has gotten milk with ice. And he doesn't want that.
Yeah.
But then, so anyway, he revisits. So I know a little bit more about him now.
Yeah, he's funny.
And feel that I'm ready for him to host SNL now. I assume his monologue will be full of his stand-up. I see a headline that says, Cher admits that her much younger boyfriend doesn't get her references. Well, sure, that's what happens when you put a Gen Xer with a boomer. I guess, well, he's 40. 40-year age gap. He's in his 30s. So he's
millennial.
He's a millennial.
He's a millennial.
And she's a boomer. She's 77. And she says he doesn't get her references. Well,
Duh.
no. I mean, talking about rations during World War II. Okay, not quite that bad. But you're probably no expert on the Vietnam conflict.
No.
I'm just telling you, that's probably not going to. So I ran across a list of, yes, Cher is 77. I have a list that I'm going to ask you here or hereafter. These are celebrities that just your gut reaction. Are they here or are they part of the hereafter? Gene Hackman, the actor, is he living or dead?
Hereafter.
Dead.
He's alive. He's 93 years of age.
Oh.
Actress Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Here.
Alive.
She's 54. She is alive at 54. Muhammad Ali, as Kentuckians, you should know this.
Dead.
Dead.
Yeah, back in 2016. Dick Van Dyke, the actor.
Dead.
No, he's living at age 97.
Get
Chim Chimmery, Chim Chimmery, Chim Chim Chiroo. Pat Benatar,
Alive.
Alive.
alive at 70. The politician Boris Yeltsin,
Dead.
Never heard of him.
died in 07. Baseball pro Willie Mays,
Dead.
Hereafter.
he's living at age 92, and my dad's favorite baseball
I hope
player.
they're not listening. They may be offended.
Actor Roger
They-
Moore, who played James Bond. Roger Moore
Deadly.
Here.
Dead.
died in 2017. Tony Bennett,
Here.
Yeah.
He just recently died.
He just passed.
He died at
okay.
96. Lonnie Anderson from WKRP and was married to Burt Reynolds. She played Jennifer Marlowe on WKRP.
Heaven.
Is she still here?
She's living at age 78.
Sorry.
You're a little presumptuous over there on heaven. I mean, I'm just
I know.
wondering-
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Like,
God,
do you know her
not
personally?
here.
Like, are you able to
Not here. Just not here. Just not
passing
here.
judgment on her going heaven?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. I mean, not everybody's guaranteed, by the way.
That's true. That's true.
Boy George, the singer,
Here.
Yeah.
he's here at age
Okay.
62. Comedian Louis Anderson.
Not here.
No.
That's correct. He died in 2022.
We're on a roll, man.
And the opera singer, Luciano Pavarotti.
Here.
He died in 2007.
Oh.
You've been gone a while.
How did we?
You busted your string. Sorry. Here or hereafter. Got to get to a break. We'll come back. Got Point to Ponder, Pearl of Wisdom, Chart Toppers, and more coming up here on In the Know.
Would you like a happier marriage? If so, then you have a choice to make. In fact, you have 7 choices to make. According to studies, couples disagree almost 2,500 times per year, which averages out to 7 times a day. That's 7 opportunities every day to drive your relationship further apart or to draw it closer together. Which one depends on you, literally. You get to choose. You see, a lot of couples fall prey to the myth that their conflict is the result of their differences. It's not. It's the result of how they handle those differences. Unhealthy couples put individual goals above the health and well-being of the relationship. They dismiss their partner's feelings and seek after me and mine. Happy couples, on the other hand, work together as a team. They put we before me, and they choose what's best for the relationship, even when it means denying themselves. When it's all said and done, a good marriage is about good choices. Even though romantic attraction is described as falling in love, a love that endures is no accident. It requires selflessness, sacrifice, and the pursuit of unity in every situation possible. It's not enough to decide one time on your wedding day that you'll love your spouse. It's a choice you make every day, several times a day. Actually, 7 times a day. For Focus on the Family, I'm Jim Daly.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save the typical family $500 a month, and that's huge. But it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The customer satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works. It's been around for more than a quarter century, and members have shared more than $3 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. 844-94-BIBLE. That's 844-94-BIBLE. 844-94-BIBLE.
Core-Mark Kentucky has immediate job openings for night warehouse shifts. If you're highly motivated, seeking a family-friendly environment, Core-Mark Kentucky has full, part, and temporary time positions available with competitive wages, incentives, benefits, vacation, and a fun work atmosphere. Core-Mark Kentucky offers you a 4-day work week. That's 3 days off a week. Call a recruiter now at 270-259-9341 or apply online at careers.coremark.com. Core-Mark is an equal opportunity employer.
Slide with your boy to the bar. Slide with your boy to the car. I've been searching everywhere and now here you are. Ooh, junkie. Looking for them girls with the big old hoops.
MB's Point to Ponder for today. We spent quite a bit of time this morning talking about like generational differences and divides and differences and new stuff and old stuff. I'm pondering what really needs to be modernized in the technological age where everything is being reformatted and changing. And is there anything you can think of that is being left behind? They say that really needs to be modernized. Is there anything stuck in the old ages, that needs to be brought forward?
I feel like you and I have had a conversation recently that there was something that we're like, why is this not like this? now, but I can't remember what we were.
Yeah, why are we still
I
doing
feel like
it
I've
that
had
way?
a similar like thought, but I don't, like you say it's 2023, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, I know one. I'm making this sound more serious, okay? Why are cereal bags, why are they not resealable at this point?
That's a good question.
All of them, yes.
Yeah,
However,
why? I feel like that should be modernized.
General Mills probably owns Ziploc.
well,
They're probably all both owned by Unilever or Procter and Gamble.
Come on.
It used to be only the off brands that you could get in the bag with the zipper, but I will share. We have now found Lucky Charms that are zipper, but they are, not in a box.
Or
zipper.
even sometimes when you buy the expensive waffles at the store, the expensive ones, they come with a little sticker that goes all the way down the package.
That I can't figure out.
Once you take a few out and you fold the package over, then the sticker goes down and
it makes the seal, holds it together.
Why are we not doing that with cereal? Because it'd be stale.
Mm-hmm.
So just a thought.
Oh yeah, because you just.
Or why
roll it
do
down
chip
there.
bags not have that too?
Well, there also needs to be.
Did I go too general? That wasn't earth shattering.
Shouldn't chips also? Can't they learn something from Pringles? You don't get smashed up Pringles unless you just throw them against the.
Unless you have Easton that lives with you.
Or they get packed in my suitcase.
The chips get.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's.
Tonight on TV, Celebrity Jeopardy. I would like to say, I think there might be a business opportunity. You can buy the groceries online. You can pull up, and they can put them in your car and pick up. And in some places, they're even doing delivery. But what about the part about putting them in the pantry? If you need some automated process, we need a robot that'll do that.
Well, can I just pick up the shopper and take him home with me?
Yeah.
Let him put him away, and then he can Uber back.
A few years ago, we were doing a Publix order in Florida, and you could real-time communicate with your shopper. Your shopper, and you could text back and forth and say, I'm standing here in front of the pickle aisle. Do you want the blanc or the blanc? And it's ooh. It's yeah. Both?
All of the pickles, please.
Both would be all right. Celebrity Jeopardy tonight, quarterfinal number 5 on ABC. The Masked Singer. It's Harry Potter night on The Masked Singer on Fox. Anything big happening on at the extension office that we need to know about? We're getting into the fall of the season.
We are. We've got, for FCS, I've got Laugh and Learn. Play dates are back in swing. They're back in person. We are working with high school students who are on the early childhood learning path. Career path, and so they are actually helping to plan Laugh and Learns. We had our first one last week. Our next Laugh and Learn will be November. Look, I've already wadded at my note. November 17th at 9:00. Registration is open.
You thought you had clocked out already, so you wadded up your note.
I clocked out. So
today's highlight in history: this date in 1760, Britain's King George III succeeded his late grandfather, King George II. America the Beautiful, with words by Catherine Lee Bates and music by Samuel A. Ward, was first published this date in 1910. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies. Birthdays today. Marion Ross is 95. She played Marion Cunningham on Happy Days. Bobby Knight is 83. Throw a chair today in honor of him. Nancy Cartwright, the voice of Bart Simpson, is 66. Mark Miller from Sawyer Brown is 65. Craig Robinson is 52. He played Daryl on The Office. Katy Perry is 39 today. And Sierra is 38 today. Gone but not forgotten. Chaucer was born in 1340. Pablo Picasso in 1881. Minnie Pearl was born this date in 1912. Howdy. I've been rewatching the country music Ken Burns documentary series, and the section on her is really good because Sarah Ophelia Colley, and they called her Ophi, but she was a highbrow Nashvilleian. She was your tea and crumpets, and then when she would go perform, she would become Minnie Pearl, like flipping a switch. And so it was really interesting about her. And howdy. Okay, chart toppers. Let's try and pull up a chart topper from 1962. The Contours were number 1.
You didn't even want me around.
In 1962.
And now I'm back to let you know I can really shake them down.
Boom, boom, boom.
Do you love me? Do you love me? I'm in the groove. Do you love me?
Kind of makes me want to watch Dirty Dancing.
I was
Carried a
just going to
watermelon.
say Dirty Dancing.
Carried a watermelon. Let's go to 1971. Rod Stewart, Maggie May, number 1. Of course, the back half of this song is Reason to Believe. Real Love, the Doobie Brothers in 80. Miss You Much, Janet Jackson in 89. Bare Naked Ladies, 1 Week in 98. Apologize, Timbaland in 07. And Closer, the Chainsmokers, number 1 in 2016. Natalie, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Don't be gone so long again.
Okay.
Good to see you. Hopefully you get some rest.
I hope so.
Get some good sleep at your house. MB's Pearl of Wisdom for today says, fear can paralyze you or it can fuel you. Let it do the latter. Fear can paralyze you or it can fuel you. Let it do the latter. MB's Pearl of Wisdom for today. Remember, God loves you and I do too. If you don't know Jesus, let me know and I'll introduce you. Look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow for another edition of our show. For Natalie Tall, for Beej, I'm MB, and now you're in the know.
Powering through the Twin Lakes with the best mix of music, news, weather, and fun. If it's in the Twin Lakes, it's on.